What's up, smart homers? My name's Aaron, and in this video I'm going to show you the Divoom Pixoo 64, which is a smart pixel art display that I think you'll find is pretty cool. I'm going to show you some of its features, show it side by side with one of my pixel art displays, and then I'm going to show you how to add it to Home Assistant. Full disclosure, Divoom sent me this device, but they didn't tell me anything I should say about it, and it was in exchange for an honest review. The Pixoo 64, as you might have guessed, is a 64 by 64 pixel art display. Although it has more pixels than my 32 by 32 display, mine has brighter colors and also has larger pixels. The display comes with a USB-C cable for powering it, and unlike the Pixoo Max, another product that they make, it doesn't have an internal battery. To turn it on, there are power and mode buttons on the right-hand side of the device. It's about half an inch thick and has a width and height of around 10 inches. For mounting it, there are a few options. It has a hole on the back for wall mounting, and you can see that the power cord tucks into a slot in the display so it can sit flat against the wall. The second option are some M6 threaded holes on the edge. Some unconventional screw eyes are supplied so that you can use hooks or whatever else you want to hang it. The third method is a conveniently concealed kickstand which can be pulled out and twisted into place. This is great if you have some sort of tech shelf that you want to set it on. Also, on the back there's an SD card slot with an SD card that contains the Divoom software. The device uses Bluetooth to connect to your phone, but then it's going to go ahead and connect to Wi-Fi, and specifically it's going to connect to 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi rather than 5 gigahertz. This can be a problem with some routers, and I have the Google Nest Wi-Fi router, and it was a little bit of a pain, but I did get it connected. Even once connected though, navigating that app was not straightforward. The app really is a mess with a layout that's not intuitive to navigate at all, but despite that, there are some pretty cool features and some things you can do on the app. One of the coolest things is that there's an extensive pixel art gallery of really cool pixel art that people from the community have made already, so you don't have to make your own, you can find it in the community. Usually if I search for anything, I can find some pixel art that suits my needs. In the My Devices tab, you can see your device and can turn it on and off by tapping the light bulb. Below that is a list of all the device functions, which I'm going to go through with you so you can get an idea of what the device can do. First, we have Design, which is one of my favorite functions. This allows you to create your own pixel art right in the app. The Pixoo screen updates live, so you can see how it looks on the screen right away. Of course, I promptly designed the Home Assistant logo and saved it locally so that I could use that whenever I wanted. But you can create whatever you want, and if you don't feel like creating the art yourself, you can actually just upload an image and it'll convert it to pixel art for you, and then you can save that. Any art that you create, you can share with the community. The next function is Animation, which allows you to create animated pixel art like you see in the gallery. You create each frame, and then it's going to make an animation for you. Next, there are pixel coloring, music, and chat functions, which I'm not going to waste any time talking about. To me, they're kind of pointless, and I'm not even going to get into them because it's a waste of time. The alarm function just allows you to set an alarm, so I won't go over that. And the planner and celebration functions I'm also not going to cover because I think they're a waste of time too. On the bottom row, you have stopwatch, which pretty much does what you'd expect. It displays a stopwatch minute and second count, along with this strange bird. The countdown function allows you to set a timer, and then it shows the countdown, followed by an explosion animation and a beeping noise when the count gets to 0. The noise meter function uses the microphone in the Pixoo 64 and then displays a noise level in decibels on the screen. If you tap more, you're going to see all of those same functions, which is not intuitive, but there's one that's added. That one is the scoreboard. This one is cool because you can use the Pixoo as a display for keeping score, manually tapping in the app to update it. You can also change the scores via the API by using a REST command. In the Clock Gallery tab, we have a few more features, and this is where the app gets a bit confusing. Why it's done this way is beyond me, but pixel art is stored in the Clock Gallery tab. Below the pixel art, you have sports, weather, social, and other clock faces. The first one we see under the pixel art section is the cloud channel, and if we tap that, we can see some configuration options. Apparently this is considered a clock face. Anyway, you can set the time that it should turn on, where the displayed pixel art will come from, and a few other options. Pixel art albums are a bunch of preloaded albums from the community. Favorites are pixel arts from the community gallery that you've marked as favorite, the heart icon. And you can also subscribe to an artist or choose the recommended gallery. There are 3 custom pixel art galleries. These can be populated with pixel art from both the community gallery as well as stuff you create. The visualizer face is also pretty cool, and it comes with a bunch of different visualizer faces, different colors and styles, and although it's not as cool as the ones I showed you with the sound reactive WLED, it's still pretty neat. Like I mentioned, there are also the social tracker displays, which allow you to track social accounts including YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And there's also a weather face, which shows weather information for your area. I was super relieved when I saw there was an option to change the temperature units from Celsius to freedom units. Anyway, that's the gist of how the device works, and I think it works pretty well, other than the fact that the app is garbage, and also that it does require some cloud connectivity for some of these features. I know you're probably wondering about it, so let's talk about the integration with Home Assistant. It's a bit dicey, but I'll explain how it works, and you should be able to follow my guide and be able to get yours working with Home Assistant pretty easily. First, apparently there is a custom integration, but it doesn't work with Home Assistant OS and can't be installed via hacks, so I'm not even going to bother messing with it. A secondary option is to create a light entity in Home Assistant and then use REST commands to control the different aspects of this device. These REST commands can all also be called in automations, which means you can have automations perform a lot of the control of this device. The REST commands allow you to turn on and off the display, turn on the buzzer, switch between faces, and even send text to the device. I found a lot of this information in the Home Assistant community, so I'm going to leave a link to the post where I found it, but I've since progressed further than what that post showed, so you can find the updated stuff in my GitHub. All of this uses the Divoom API, which is weakly documented, but it actually has quite a bit of stuff you can do with it. I can see one of you geniuses writing a custom integration with no issues. Okay, so first let's add the device as a light entity. All you have to do is copy the code for that light entity from that forum post or from my GitHub, and then paste it either into your lights.yaml file or into your configuration.yaml file under the lights integration if you haven't split out your configuration already. As you can see, the light template relies on some REST commands, so we're going to need to add those too. Again, this is all going to be my GitHub, so you can just find it all there. If you're already using some REST commands, copy and paste these commands wherever you keep those REST commands. If you don't currently use REST commands, now's a good time to split them onto your configuration. In your configuration.yaml file, add REST command, include restcommands.yaml as I've shown here. Save that, and then create a new file in the same directory called restcommands.yaml as I've shown here. Your configuration.yaml file is now going to reference the restcommands.yaml file, and you can put all your REST commands in that REST commands file. This keeps your configuration.yaml file trim and tidy. In this new file, paste the REST commands and save. You'll notice in the REST commands that they reference a secret Pixoo post address. This is just the IP address of your Pixoo 64, so you'll need to know that, and then you can add it to your secrets.yaml file like I've done here. The light template entity also requires a sensor that we're going to have to create. So you're going to copy and paste the sensor from my GitHub or that post to your sensors.yaml file if you split it out, or to your configuration.yaml file under the sensor integration. After you've done that, restart Home Assistant and then check your entities list, and you should see that this light entity is now added. It has basic on-off functions and also gives you the ability to change the effect, or really the channel. The channels are Faces, Cloud, Visualizer, and Custom, which are the 4 main channels of the device. Faces displays whatever clock face you choose to display. Mine shows the YouTube face with my subscriber and view counts, which reminds me, how come you haven't subscribed yet? Cloud channel shows a bunch of images or GIFs from the gallery that you set up in the app. Visualizer displays the visualizer that you've chosen in the app. And the last one, Custom, displays pixel art or GIFs that you've added to one of the 3 custom collections. You can actually use a REST command to change which of those 3 custom collections that we set up in the app that you want to display when you change to this channel. So those controls are pretty cool, but there's actually a lot more in the API. The problem is that the documentation is pretty unclear, and it actually takes quite a little while to figure out how to get it working. One of the cool things I did figure out from the API is how to send text to the screen. You can specify X and Y starting positions, scroll speed, font type, and much more. In order for it to actually show up though, you need to send a reset GIF command, which is one of those rest commands we added. Then send a send GIF command, and then finally the set text command. We've already added these as rest commands, so we can actually go to developer tools and send those commands, or we can do it in an automation. To make this simpler for Home Assistant users who maybe are newer at this stuff, I created a blueprint that's going to call these rest commands, and it's going to effectively do what you might have to do manually automatically. The blueprint allows you to send 4 lines of text to the device, and each line can have its own color. This is great for sending notifications to this display if you want to be notified that the laundry's done, you got mail, stuff like that. To install the blueprint, click the link to it in the description, click the import button, click open link, and when it opens in Home Assistant, click preview. If there are no errors, click import blueprint. Now you can go to settings, automations and scenes, and click create automation. The new blueprint should show up in your list of blueprints, so you can click on it. Here you can see that it's a pretty simple interface. There are text boxes and color pickers for each line. Fill them in, save the automation, and run it. Now, all of these things, the text size, the text scroll speed, the font, all of these things can be customized, but I simplified it by picking what I thought were the best in this blueprint. If you want to customize all these different characteristics, you can call the rest command yourself in an automation or in developer tools, and you can change those settings to your liking. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. It's a pretty cool little display, as you can see, and I think there is a lot more that can be uncovered with the API. I'm just scratching the surface, but I think there's tons more you can do. I still haven't figured out how to send images to the display, which I was hoping to figure out before I release this. Now, if I do figure that out, I'll go ahead and add them to my GitHub so you'll have reference there. One problem with this device is that it's not really cloud-free, as you can see by a lot of the features we looked at in the app. But the biggest issue to me is that app, which is just hot garbage and really needs to be redesigned. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. And even if you're already subscribed, check to make sure you didn't get unsubscribed somehow. If you want to support the channel, you can pick up some custom t-shirts from my shop, linked below, or you can become a member. And don't forget to join my Discord because we have a lot of discussions and you can ask questions there in more detail. Anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.